to go. Thank you.
Councilmember Oddo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My
the
question
last
is for
question
the
for this
gentleman
panel.
from Heads Up New York University. Did I understand you to say that you believe if the council acts legislatively on this and this does not go to a referendum, you believe that that will not add cynicism to the general public? Because I asked that in the context of a gentleman, I represent Staten Island, where in 1993, not only was there a term limits issue on the ballot, but there was a secession issue. And 65% of my home community voted to secede, and government completely ignored that. So I'm asking you, are you telling me the guy at Nick's Barbershop, the blue-collar guys and the professional guys that eat pizza at Lee's Tavern, they're not going to become more cynical if we do this legislatively? That's what your point was?
I'm very concerned about the growth of cynicism and a society of distrust that we see developing in our nation. And I think there's really only one hope, and that is for leaders of communities, especially political leaders, to begin to act as profiles encourage and display behavior which over time evokes from the public the response of faith that we once had. I think to view this issue of cynicism and the appearance of activity here narrowly is a mistake. If we're to believe what some people have said here in opposition to this bill, that there are large numbers of people out there who oppose doing this, one could say it's an act of bravery that would be respected over time to step forward and say, because this is right, I am doing it. I think one of the great moments in the history of this council was when this council on the Civilian Complaint Review Board voted to override what had been a referendum of the people. You have the authority to do it. There's no question that this would survive Section 5. Absolutely no question that it would survive Section 5. I disagree respectfully with the councilwoman on that. You have the authority to do this. I agree that where you should be locating your consideration is in terms of its long-term impact on the way our government is perceived. And I submit to you, if you make the right choice here, and the right choice is not, especially in these times, whether you agree with them or not when a large number of our citizens yearn for the right to vote to people for whom you would be depriving them of their right to vote if you leave the status quo. When many of the citizenry yearn for that, if you vote to give them the right to vote, not to elect those officials, but to give them the right to vote, over time you will be acting in a way that will build respect, if you follow it especially with other such activity. That's what will turn around.
With all due respect, sir, you use terms like profiles and courage, act of bravery, behavior. You want to talk about faith? Well, take it from, and to say to any member here who has the courage, if that is his or her convictions, to speak against his or her speaker and a mayor with all the resources in the world. If you're trying to tell me that's not defined as an act of bravery or profiles and courage, then you're sadly mistaken. Take it from a guy who got run over by the tank that is the West Wing of this building, when I stood up and I took what I thought was a very principled vote against the property tax. I've lived it. You want to talk about faith? I needed faith. Okay, so what you see as engendering goodwill with the public voting yes, I see perhaps a council member who has the courage to stand up and vote no to very powerful interests. That to me is what will build faith in this system. That to me is what will make New Yorkers proud of their government. So we see this differently. Perhaps I see it from the blue-collar kid that I am, and perhaps you see it from the academic intellectual that you are.
Excuse me, when I sit down for Thanksgiving dinner with the 42 people in my family, only I and my wife and my son have gone to college. They're blue-collar people too. I come from the same roots. Listen to my accent that you do. I want, please, with respect, to say I never said that a person that voted no on this was not displaying. What I said was no one should be concerned about voting yes because of an appearance, that over time, voting on principle and for the right reasons, whether one sees it, and there will be things on which You will think no, and I will think yes. This may be one such case. I'm saying to you right now, when I analyze the situation, it's clear to me, especially in these times, to continue a system that deprives people that are yearning to vote of the right to vote would be a mistake. Over time, a vote of yes to give them the right to vote, not to install any particular candidates, but to give them the right to vote, will be viewed not badly, but well. Don't think short-term, think long-term, and it's vote neutral.
No, that's it.
Wait, no.
No.
Mr. Chairman, there have been
There's
people
been a back and forth.
For 18 hours I've been sitting here, Mr. Chairman.
How many?
18.
If you can keep the lady to my right quiet, then we'll let you talk as long as you want.
I just want to make one point. I did not mean to say that you implied that, but you said something that people can infer from that. And perhaps you have to walk in our shoes for a day to fully appreciate the impact of no votes on votes like this. Okay? You have to live this life. You have to walk these chambers. You have to know the implications of your no vote. So when you say that it's courageous to vote yes, I'm saying to you, there are times where it's way more courageous to take a stand and vote no to friends, vote no to your leaders, vote no to people that you helped put in office. That's my only point.
Council, she's wearing me down. Councilmember White. That, by the way, that's not a Republican clap.